Hi, everyone. Lisa Haven here. Well, the United States is now on high alert as tensions are rising between Russia and Ukraine, NATO, and the U.S. In fact, according to an Express article that I'm going to show you here in a moment, Russia is deploying via a test an underwater drone that's designed to inundate the United States coastlines with a radioactive tsunami. And this is all part of an unprecedented military buildup over there in the Arctic. And the article is actually calling it a doomsday nuke. Not only that, but right now on Russia TV, they are talking about nuclear options and possibilities. So I've got a lot of stuff that I have to share. And quite frankly, we're going into some pretty chilling territory when we talk about wars and all of that. But as a reminder, please get on over to Restricted Republic. Here are some of the videos they don't want you to see. And right now, if you sign up on Restricted Republic, you get to check out a lot of those. Keep in mind, I really publish brand new videos over there that you're not going to see anywhere else. They're exclusive to Restricted Republic, and they're that uncensored, unrestricted content. And get it for $1 for the very first month using the code $, and cancel whenever you want. And that's on the monthly subscription. All right, so let's get into what is happening right now all across the globe. Let's start with this article, and this is from the Moscow Times. So this is what the mainstream media in Russia is telling the Russian people about what's going on. And it says, are Russia and Ukraine sliding into war? A very recent article, April 6th. It's unlikely, they say, that either side intends to unleash war, but the absence of rational motives for a war does not preclude the crisis spiraling out of control. Now, the article goes on. After 6 years of an unease and at times of violent truth, the specter of a new war is looming large in Russia and Ukraine relations. In retaliation for Kiev's recent crackdown on pro-Russian media and politicians, Moscow is staging large-scale military buildup along the Ukraine border. The situation is especially volatile in that particular region where the ceasefire between Ukraine army and Moscow-sponsored breakaway territories has effectively broken down. Both sides are accusing each other of provocations and regularly exchanging fire. So there is shooting in the area, which I've been reporting on here on my YouTube channel, with casualties mounting among both military personnel and civilians. Now here is this is the military basically posting board for Ukraine, and all I've done is copy the words here and put them into Google Translate because I don't use the Google search engine. I encourage you not to either. But here it is, and it just reiterates as of April 6th, there's more shooting going on in the area, and it says, glory to Ukraine, this is their military, right? And ignoring the agreements reached on July 22nd, 2020, within the framework of this particular group, the Russian occupation forces continue to shell the positions of the armed forces of Ukraine. Since the beginning of the day, one ceasefire violation by the armed forces of the Russian Federation has been recorded. And they talk about opening fire. Enemy opened fire with 82 mortars, large caliber machine guns, anti-tank grenade launchers, and the whole 9 yards. One serviceman was killed, as you can read there as well. So this is just some of the more recent. I read in two prior reports here on YouTube, I talked about they broke ceasefire 5 times and I believe 2 times on another occasion. So this is now becoming a common occurrence there between Ukraine and Russia. Moving on a little bit, you can see that they're still building up. Here's a Bloomberg article, and this is titled, Russia stages mass military drills as Ukraine tensions climb. Then we see Russia announce the start of a massive military drill, racketing up tensions with neighboring Ukraine amid Western concerns about the risk of renewed fighting. More than 4,000 training exercises are held in military districts across Russia in April, Defense Minister said on Tuesday in comments posted on their website. So here we have Russia also doing massive training exercises on top of the posturing, shall we say, or the war threats there that are going on as well. We also have Ukraine taking up defenses. We have KievPost.com. Ukraine raises southern territorial defense units to counter the Russian threat. And as a reminder, I published this just the other day, but NATO is also getting involved. And of course, we have Biden as well. But here we have Reuters. Kremlin says that any NATO troop deployment to Ukraine would raise tensions. So we have Putin threatening NATO, saying if you do anything with Ukraine, then that's going to tick me off. And so what does NATO do? They do stuff with Ukraine. And that's this next article, express.co.uk. Russia versus Ukraine. Crisis looms as Kiev is teaming up with NATO for drills, and Putin sent a warning. We have Ukraine's armed forces have said in a joint military drill with NATO troops would begin in a few months' time in a move which will likely infuriate Putin and stroke already heightened tensions between Moscow and basically the Russian area. And then we have this, another very recent article, and this is on theguardian.com. Ukraine urges NATO to hasten membership as Russian troops gather. The president calls for his country to be put on the pathway of membership of Western military alliance. So they are continuing there in Ukraine to hasten the membership there with NATO. Obviously, this is ticking Putin off. And of course, as I've shared before, Biden has already said that he supports Ukraine and basically is going to back Ukraine. And so all these things are continually mounting right now on top of an already hurting economy, on top of everything that we're dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, even more shocking is the clip that I'm about to play for you. And it really, I think, speaks about where we're at, not only, as the potential for World War III, but right now on Russian TV, they are literally talking about the possibility of nukes, if you will, on Russian TV. Take a look here at this article, and this is on warnews247.gr. Now, what I've done is copied here just the headline, but you can read this for yourself. But here I've copied it into Google Translate, and here's what it says. Critical month. The Russians took up arms at the national level. Russian public television is talking about a nuclear strike. Ukraine is calling for reserves. First strike ready for Russian nuclear trinity. Now, nuclear war is obviously never good and something that none of us wants because it always brings death and destruction. But here's the Russian TV news source. Now, you can play this. It's just them speaking Russian. So all I've done is turned on the closed caption and put it in English. And I'm not sure every word, is exactly translated to the hilt. But I'm going to read to you what they're saying, and I'll leave the link in the description box below so you can check it out. But it says, clashes on the ground of Ukraine with troops over and will lead to nuclear conflicts. That's huge, nuclear conflicts. And it goes on to say, I think that, again, this is purely my judgment, he says, but all the same, any conflict can be basically deemed threats or termed threats from our side about the use of tactical nuclear weapons, any conflict in this case. It will be stopped another manner, or how convincing our leadership is will formulate this call, so to speak, because it means that it'll be necessary to make an explosion somewhere in neutral territory on approaching. It is quite possible that it could even be a demonstrated nuclear explosions, let's say, well in the deserted waters of the ocean. So they're saying it's a potential that they could release or blow something up in the ocean, so to speak. But they go on. But not so many deserted so that it can't be seen. Basically, if they're going to do it, they're going to make it seeable by someone to make it count. But right now, it's different because when all these statements count, the Pentagon and so on, that Russia, you look at yourself, don't you dare twitch. So it's basically posturing, that kind of thing they're talking about as well. A little more than that, I would say. All we want to do about this is read the political will of Russia and such. Drowning, and because America, who does not understand the expression, threatens treatment, and if NATO troops are fighting for Russia on the territory of Ukraine, and if suddenly the site is clear, what else is threatening then? Is it just the Western one? This option is the only one possible for us, but if possible, again, I'm demonstratively, and they just kind of keep going there. I'll just kind of play it, but basically a nuclear strike somewhere in the ocean is probable too, but unfortunately, everyone was probably drowning. Well, not that, probably very different. So it's a bit PC of what you're getting, to say the least, which was really hard for me to get you the nitty gritty of what's going on. But basically they're saying this is they could have that as a sort of demonstration of power in the middle of nowhere where people won't get hurt. But this is the kind of stuff that they're talking about on Russian TV that should send chills down everybody's spine. Now, on top of it, here's this article that I spoke about in the very beginning of the report on express.co.uk and how the U.S. is now on alert on top of everything that's going on. But here it is. U.S. on alert as Russia deploys Doomsday Nuke in Arctic as military buildup conflict fears. Russia is deploying an underwater drone designed to inundate U.S. coastal cities with radioactive tsunamis as part of an unprecedented military buildup in the Arctic. It goes on, Kremlin defense chiefs are testing their latest weapons in water that until recently were frozen over as Russian attempts to secure its northern coast and open up a key shipping route from Asia to Europe. The powerful Poseidon 2M39 torpedo, nicknamed the Doomsday Nuke because of its terrifying capabilities, is among the new arsenal undergoing test in the northern oceans. It goes on, weapons experts and Western officials have expressed particular concern about this super weapon. And Washington said it was watching very closely. So obviously, according to this article, Washington is on high alert if they're watching closely after satellite images revealed the expansion of military bases, including an underground facility that could be used to house the Poseidon torpedo. The unmanned stealth torpedo is powered by a nuclear reactor and is tended by Russian designers to sneak past coastal defenses on the seabed. Just sneak past our defenses, right? It goes on. Christopher Ford, a former U.S. Assistant Secretary, State of International Security, said that Poseidon was designed to inundate our U.S. coastal cities with radioactive tsunamis. How terrifying if something like that were to hit the United States of America or our coastline. NATO and the Pentagon have responded to Moscow's movement with increased deployments of troops and equipment of their own. U.S. B-1 bombers stationed at Norway's Orlando Air Base have recently completed missions in the Eastern Sea there, and the U.S. military stealth Seawolf submarine has been patrolling the region since last summer. A senior State Department official told Communist News Network there's clearly a military challenge from the Russians in the Arctic. So lots of stuff is happening. Again, we've got that military buildup, the testing going on by Russia with this radioactive tsunami, Poseidon torpedo. Right? That should raise some serious concerns for Biden, I guess, if he was all technically there, in my non-doctor opinion, right? This is a lot of stuff. Tensions are rising. And just to be honest with you, it's not just between Russia and Ukraine. Obviously, U.S. is kind of sticking its head in there, and NATO as well. But things are also happening right now between China China, Taiwan. All this tension is building in China as well. Here we have U.S. Navy sends warship near Taiwan as China sends 15 warplanes. That's AmericanMilitaryNews.com. Then we also have this on Gateway Pundit. Japan sends destroyer after China's aircraft carrier and 5 ships, right, pass on the way to the Pacific. Then we have another one here, Gateway Pundit. Biden sends warships to disputed South China Sea as tensions rise with communist China. So all of this is happening, wars and rumors of wars as the Bible depicts. And I fear that we just might be looking at some kind of war or World War III on the horizon. The clock is ticking, folks. The clock is really ticking. Anyhow, please don't forget to check out my partner at noblegoldinvestments.com. If you guys don't have a 401k or an IRA backed by gold, silver, or precious metals, look, the economy's going to go nuts. It's already going nuts. So you want to make sure you have a profile, a diversified profile, and that includes precious metals, gold, silver, and all of that. And right now, for any approved IRA or 401k, they are giving away this Carson City uncirculated silver dollar. So give them a call or check them out at noblegoldinvestments.com. Let them know Lisa Haven sent you. Anyhow, thanks again for tuning in. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.